We Made This.
Cerebral Jukebox is proud to be part of the We Made This podcast network. Hello there, thank you very much for downloading this episode. My name is Bryan and I am the world's first brain surgeon / therapist / jukebox repairman. It pays more than a vet, but less than a dentist. This is Cerebral Jukebox, where a guest tells me about a song they found so catchy it got stuck in their head. We have a bit of a chat about it, then I give them a choice to remove it from their internal memory forever, or they can keep it for prosperity. My guest today is a broadcaster across many podcasts on the We Made This podcast network. He is also a humanist celebrant, a wrestling announcer, and many other things in between. It's Mark Adams. Mark, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm alright. You made me sound brilliant and busy, which is good, because I'm at least busy out of those two things.
So, just before we get started, Mark, do you want to sort of say, we said how busy you were, do you want to sort of just go on about what you do, you say, with your many different podcasts there?
So I've got 3 podcasts on the We Made This podcast network. I used to have 4, but I got rid of one. The first one I do is Life's Milestones, which is a fortnightly podcast on a Monday, and that is where I kind of use my job as a humanist celebrant to inspire questions about naming ceremonies and birth, weddings and relationships and funerals and death. It's kind of like an interviewee podcast where people talk about those different things once a fortnight. If you want to follow that, it's at Life's Milestones on Twitter. I also do Shipwrecked and Comatose with you, Carl.
You do, yes.
Yeah, Shipwrecked and Comatose is a Red Dwarf podcast, which it's broadcast on a Thursday, and we basically go through all of the Red Dwarf episodes one by one and discuss that. But it has like specials in between as well. So we will look at the weirder side of Red Dwarf as well, like everything from the role-playing game to the American pilots to potentially we might even look at the pornography at some point. And if you're interested in that, that's at Red Dwarf Pod on Twitter. And my new podcast, which I'm launching relatively soon, is called Right in the Childhood. And that's where me and my friend Fraser, I'm a Zennial, he's a Millennial, we kind of show each other our treasured telly memories from our childhood. And we kind of tell stories about what we remember about it, watch a few episodes, then we come back and we talk about it, and we've been quite nice to each other so far about each other's telly programmes, but at some point I think, we might criticise each other's stuff. But it's kind of the idea being that because of the age difference between me and Fraser, I'm 41, he's 24, we don't have any children's telly in common, so we can kind of look at it comparatively. And that's launching in August. That's at RITC Pod on Twitter as well. There we go. Many podcasts.
Excellent. You're an ambassador for podcasting, sir.
I just like podcasts.
I love podcasts too. I mean, we even chatted about it on your retired podcast, Don't Say the C Word, which is also on the We Made This podcast network.
It is.
Okay then, so let's get down to business. We are going to talk about a song that gets stuck in your head. Mark, do you want to let the audience know what song you chose?
So, I had quite a few candidates for this. There was like really obvious stuff like the theme tune from the 90s X-Men series, which would have kind of worked quite nicely with Right in the Childhood, but I decided against that. And then there's another really obvious one, like the Lego Movie one. This song's going to get stuck inside your head, but that was so meta that I decided that wasn't a good one either. And
right.
Lots of songs get stuck in my head. Some of them are even good, but the one we're talking about today is Non, Je ne regrette rien by Édith Piaf.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. And that's literally all I know. I couldn't sing another word, or at least I couldn't sing another word accurately from the entire song.
Right. Do you remember when you first came across this song?
I do. I was in my mid-20s, so a long time ago now. And I had this group of friends that we basically, as you do when you're young and recently out and kind of looking for gay friends, we kind of came together because we were all in a similar boat, and we got really close, and we went out every week and we got leathered. And one of them was really into like camp culture, so we went on a trip to Port Maddox, and he played this on repeat in his car on the way there, and we sang along, or at least we pretended we sang along. We made up the French words. So instead of whatever the line was, we might replace it with Je m'appelle Marc, or Est-ce que tu es des frères ou des sœurs, or any other cliched French words.
Où est la bibliothèque?
Exactly. And yeah, it kind of got stuck in my head that weekend, and because of that weekend, it's got stuck in my head for the last 15 years since.
I mean, had you heard, so as I ask everybody on the show, had you heard of Édith Piaf before you'd heard this song?
Nope.
No.
It's just kind of like gays being super gay and listening to camp stuff. And it was kind of like all new to me because I was so recently out, you know?
It's interesting that you said that you were listening to it on car tunes, because it's not really a car banger, is it? It's not one you can imagine yourself really singing along to en masse, but it does sound like it was a bit of an anthem for you at that time.
Yeah, it really was. We had the windows down and we were singing stupidly loud. Being young and dumb and recently queer, it was great times. It was. But you're right, it's possibly not kind of Bon Jovi or like, you see those guys who come past you in their cars with happy hardcore playing really loud. It's not quite happy hardcore, is it?
I say I have strange memories of happy hardcore. I remember staying at a friend of mine's house, and it was a place where random people sort of went to live. It was very much almost like a commune sort of house, and one of the first people who moved in was a bit of a stranger, but all he listened to round the clock was happy hardcore, and he was in his room all the time, but it was so loud. But we're like, what is this music? And it was just...
But there's no point in happy hardcore if you don't play it loud and obnoxiously so that everyone else hates it.
Well, true. True. It is one of those genres that's not really lasted the test of time, I don't think, really.
Oh, I don't know. I'd listen to a bit of happy hardcore for the lulls. For a quarter of an hour or so, at least. And then I wouldn't do it for another year. So yeah, you're right. You're completely right, actually. Yeah, you are right. Sorry.
That's all right. So going back to after discovering this song, was this something? Did you get more into Édith Piaf, or did you just leave it down to just this song?
Just this song. Couldn't name you a single thing she's done before or since.
What do you think it is that made it catchy to you? Do you think it's just that chorus part of it, or?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's because it was repeatedly played again and again and again as a wind-up by my friend, but it is a really quite beautiful song. It's very much not my kind of genre usually. I wouldn't listen to, 20s, 30s French music. I'd be much more likely to listen to 80s or 90s rock music, but there's something about it that I think I'd have at least noticed it, even if it hadn't been kind of rammed down my throat on repeat, you know?
Now, I'm probably going to date the pair of us here, but I kind of remember the first time I heard this song, and it's during an episode of, do you remember The New Statesman? With Rick Mayall?
Oh, when he was Alan Bastard?
Yes.
Yes, do you know, I've forgotten its name, but yes, I do.
There's an episode in that where he's in Germany, and he walks into a sort of German, sort of bohemian cafe bar, and somebody is singing Je Ne Regrette Rien in there, and it's Lily Savage. It's like one of her first ever appearances on television. And she does it very, very close to the track that we've played today, because she's got the smoky, husky voice for it. But that was the first time I remember the song being sung by a drag queen. Do you think the song is tied in a lot with gay culture and queer culture, or do you think it was just something that your friend was into at the time?
I don't know. I was only... The term is seen, spelt S-C-E-N-E. I was only really seen for the first couple of years after I rocketed out of the closet, and I fell out with gay culture because I didn't really want to define my life by my sexuality once I'd slept with enough guys. So I don't really know gay culture as well as perhaps people might expect me to. I think it is linked to gay culture, though. I'm just not sure quite how much, and whether or not it's maybe faded in the last 15 or 20 years.
So, Mark, what we're going to do is what I offer everybody who comes on this show, and I think I know what the answer is going to be. I will offer to remove this song from your Cerebral Jukebox if you so wish, or if you want, you can keep it. What would you like me to do there for you?
So, I thought about it, and I actually did a little bit of research on the song. I looked at the translated lyrics, and beyond the fact that it is kind of a happy memory for me, the lyrics are brilliant. They're about someone coming to the end of their life and not regretting anything that they've done. And that's very humanist, and I'm very humanist. So it's a really pretty song that has a lot of meaning as well that I've only recently discovered. So even if I had decided I wanted to get rid of it before doing a bit of research, this research would have meant I wanted to keep it. But I did already want to keep it anyway.
I'm only 2 episodes in, and I feel like I'm going to be keeping a lot more songs in than I'm going to be removing from people's memories.
Well, if it helps, if I'd picked this song's going to get stuck inside your head, I'd have asked you to remove that.
Fair enough. But, well, we'll be keeping that inside your Cerebral Jukebox for now. Before I let you go, Mark, there is one thing I want to bring up, because you mentioning this actually put this song inside my head, which is the X-Men theme tune.
Yeah.
Where did you remember first hearing that, and how long it has stuck? Because it is a bit of a banger.
It's wonderful, isn't it? The X-Men theme tune is my favourite amongst favourites of kids' TV show themes, and it's just so catchy. I think I must have heard it the first time I watched it, so summer holiday mornings, I think, on like BBC Two at Dormouse early o'clock, probably. I love it. I think it's you're right, it's just a banger. And it, did you ever hear the Japanese version?
I have. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
It's even better, which is batshit. It shouldn't be allowed to be better. But they redid it for the Japanese market, and the Japanese version's just brilliant. It's not as catchy, but it's an absolute kind of banger, and it's the bloody X-Men cartoon is brilliant.
Just quickly again before we go, what's the best place to keep up with all your comings and goings?
Oh, if you just follow me on my personal Twitter, @MarkAdamsHC. That's my Instagram as well, and it has a link to my website.
Mark, thank you very much for coming on. And,
oh, you're welcome. I've had fun. And I've now got Édith Piaf in my head. Again.
So that was Mark. I am very happy to have Mark on this show. We are going to have Mark back on this show. He's someone who's been very instrumental in getting me back into podcasting, and if it wasn't for him, then certainly this show wouldn't exist. So do go check out Mark on all of his different podcasts across the We Made This Podcast network. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back for the next episode. I was going to play a clip from Édith Piaf to see us out. However, because Mark has mentioned it, and because it is quite a crazy track, I am going to play the Japanese X-Men cartoon theme. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.
elsewhere on We Made This. The Movie Palace.
It's a tricky one. Like, how much do you think a first-time viewer should know going into this film about the storyline and about everything?
The most important thing that they should know about Psycho is that it is, at its core, a story about how isolation can really erode the mental state. So if you are alone for too long, and as you say, we're like in the middle of a pandemic, we're all like not allowed to leave our houses a lot and stuff. I think Norman Bates wouldn't have struggled during Corona. I'm just saying that.
Shipwrecked and Comatose, a Red Dwarf podcast.
But you can buy DVDs of it. Not like properly produced ones, but like under the counter. Psst, I've got a copy of the Red Dwarf US pilot. Do you want one? And bizarrely, people have gone, yes.
I mean, this is the thing. There's the Fantastic Four film that no one was ever supposed to see as well, and anybody who's a fan has seen it. And I guess that's kind of like the same here, is that fandom has a morbid curiosity for these things.
Yeah, it's the Star Wars Christmas special, but for Red Dwarf.
Which I don't want to do a podcast about the Star Wars Christmas special. I like podcasting, but there is a line, and I think it's the Star Wars Christmas special.
Mild Threat and Peril.
Dead Ringers was my first Cronenberg movie, man, so it does hold a special place for me. When I saw that, I was like,
this was really just thinking about the practicalities of wearing red silk in an operating. That's going to be a bastard to get any state out of. Like, the static from that, surely that could short circuit something. I knew Jason Voorhees was at like 13.
He was still a thing when we were 13, though. That's the difference.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.